You know, Glenn Close said something to me a while back during my chat with her about Josh O'Connor, her co-star in the new Knives Out film, Wake Up Dead Man, that I just can't get out of my head.
I just think he's like Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you that.
Yeah.
And what is it about Jimmy Stewart? You always feel that there's a human heart there, and that there's somebody that you love. He's easy to love, and that's a beautiful quality to have, certainly in film. He's empathetic, and he's sympathetic, and just real and unassuming and lovely, and he's just a great guy.
And it got me thinking just how different this version of Knives Out is from the past two films. Watching it on Netflix, here in LA, I went to the building here in LA, I kept thinking to myself, this is the best Knives Out film I've seen. I mean, out of the three, it's funny, of course, and it has great Benoir Blanc moments. Of course, Daniel Craig is brilliant as usual, but tonally, something is different about Wake Up Dead Man. It's almost more cinematic. You know what I mean? It's Hitchcockian in a lot of ways. So obviously that means I needed to talk with writer-director Rian Johnson and the stars Daniel Craig, Glenn Close, and Josh O'Connor, as I do. Now, just to give you a little peek into the plot, it stars Josh O'Connor as Father Judd, who is assigned to this church in this small town with like a colorful congregation, including Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Jeremy Renner, among others. Glenn Close is it's a stacked cast, guys. It's a Knives Out film, so of course it's a stacked cast. And that church is led by Monsignor Jefferson Wicks, played by Josh Brolin, who turns up dead. Dun, dun, dun! Enter Benoit Blanc, who then teams up with Father Judd to figure out who among the congregation is the murderer. Simple plot, but it really just it validates my trust in Rian Johnson to create a great whodunit, because it is a great whodunit. Now, I'm going to start things off today with my chat with Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig about how the film came about and the role of faith in mystery, because Rian did use sort of the themes around faith to really build the mystery in the story, and it's fascinating to watch. I mean, I'm a former Mormon, so I understand the whole conservative faith things and how it can kind of with your head. And then after that, I'll chat with Josh O'Connor about his performance, which is both heartfelt and funny. Who knew Josh O'Connor was funny? I mean, I guess we'll find out when he hosts SNL. Then finally, I'll end things with Glenn Close, who, in my opinion, deserves an Academy Award nomination for her performance in this film. Literally, I wouldn't say she carries the film, but she steals the film. And frankly, I think she deserves an Oscar just for waking up in the morning. And yes, I did ask her what winning an Oscar would mean to her. And of course, she gives a brilliant answer. So sit back and grab a snack, because I will first be back with Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig.
The film is fantastic. I just was blown away by it. I mean, it's my favorite of all three, and I've enjoyed all three, I have to say. So my first question, Rian, where did this story come from for you?
Well, it came, first of all, from Daniel and I kind of having an initial conversation about how it would be nice to kind of ground the next one a little bit more. And that led me to thinking, okay, so that means, how do I make it personal? And that led me to making it about faith. That's something that is very personal for me. I didn't grow up Catholic, but I grew up very Christian. I grew up Protestant, kind of evangelical. And I'm not at all anymore. I'm not a believer anymore. But when I was growing up and into my early 20s, it was something that was a deeply personal, huge part of who I was and how I saw the world. So it's something I have really, strong and very complicated feelings about. And so that was kind of the starting point, was can we make a movie that kind of talks about faith as opposed to talking at it or finger wagging or feeling didactic, but at the same time that doesn't pull any punches in terms of the conversation about both faith and religion and society. And can we do it? This is the bigger challenge in the context of a Benoit Blanc mystery, which is a big, fun, entertaining murder mystery that welcomes audiences into the big tent to have a good time with their families. And that seemed like an interesting challenge.
Well, you definitely did it. I'll say that
Thank
for
you.
sure. Daniel, I want to talk about Benoit Blanc. He does feel evolved in this one. He's different in this one. And don't you think? And there's some, as I was watching it, I remember I saw it at Netflix and I was leaving with a colleague of mine and we were talking about how he just feels different in some way in this one. How do you think he's changed?
I mean, I think we've all just got a bit older. We've all.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I will because I have. But I think that what I like and love about this script, and what I loved about the script when I read it was that that we don't get to know a lot more about him. We don't have any more backstory. It's kind of I like it like that. I like the mystery of him, but through his relationship with Father Judd, he has a revelation about the world. He has a mind expanding moment, which in any other person might be seen as a religious experience. He doesn't see it as a religious experience. He sees it as a wonderful lesson learned. So he is. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just getting to the third movie and feeling secure, feeling my relationship with Ryan is as solid as it's always been, and I knew the material was great. That maybe it's just I didn't consciously go out to change anything, put it that way. But I think just your experiences always sort of move forward, don't they? They inform what you're doing next. And I think sort of the fact that we've done the two movies together and we've gone this way and that with him, and it's just he feels more settled within me.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan, I want to speak a little bit more about faith. I can so relate to. I mean, I had a very similar background, and one of the things that I left the film thinking is that does stay with you, even if it isn't. I mean, it's not a part of my life now, but yet it does become a part of your core and sometimes even your decision making in some ways as you get older. And so what I loved about how you used faith is that you used it for suspense. You used it for the decision making. You use every aspect of the story is somehow impacted by someone's view of their faith. And so I wanted to know from you just to speak a little bit more to how faith could actually be used as a storytelling tool or suspense.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that so much, man. I mean, for me, that really, it comes from kind of setting the compass very early to the movie truly being about faith. And then once I started diving into kind of the details of the script, which are the things you're talking about, they're the suspects and all the suspects' different perspectives and their Father Judd and kind of what's pushing him and Blanc and what's pushing him, and even down to the details of the mystery and the murder. All of those things, I'm formulating in order to be oriented around this center of the movie, which is this question of faith and how it's used and how it, and as you said, anyone who grew up with faith, has a multitude of perspectives that live with equal strength at the exact same time inside themselves about faith. It's a genuinely complicated thing. And so that's what I was, trying to bring into the film. And that means using it in a lot of different ways. That means using it for suspense, using it for comedy also.
What's my favorite line?
Young, dumb, and full of Christ.
Yes.
Yeah. The things growing up, especially as a teenager in the church, there's you laugh a lot about religion.
Yeah.
It's not like a sacred cow. It's something that it's actually part of your life you're living with. Mm-hmm. And that means it's something you're laughing about also. So
totally.
Humor
I remember being attracted to the Mormon missionary that was baptizing me while I was being baptized. I mean, it just stays with you.
That'd be a great scene.
That could be the next one, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Next film. Well, so I want to speak also to like what I love, and maybe Daniel, you could speak to this a little bit, because I feel like, just from your other films and everything, you do lots of press, you probably get a lot of attention from the audience for this character. And there is something, the audiences for this film, it reminds me of what I've read about sort of how people responded to Hitchcock films, and that they didn't want to give away the thing. They didn't want to, they actively were participants in the storytelling, in that they didn't want to ruin it for other people when they went to go see the movie. So Daniel, I want to know, like, how do you think Rian's work has impacted audiences so much that they are almost a part of the process of the promotion of the film, of the people viewing the film, and how it impacts what you do?
I mean, I think it's a lot of it is down to Rian's attitude towards filmmaking. It's he wants to. I mean, he wants to give people the best time that they can have in a cinema. I mean, that's his, you know, it's like, it's not that much more complicated than that. And thankfully he's picked this genre right now to do that. But whatever he goes on and he's done before, he's always, that's his MO. I mean, I can't speak to it in the sense of why people have been, but I think it is because they feel it's not the effort that Rian put in. It's not that like it feels like it's an effort, but it feels like they feel they're precious. It's a precious moment, and people seem to appreciate that, and somehow that's sort of translated into people saying don't say anything. I mean, and collectively saying that online and everywhere, and I don't know the answer. I'm just very grateful for that it actually happened.
Well, and Rian, I wanted to ask you about that too. I mean, as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, you do have a relationship with the audience, and you are creating. Oftentimes, I mean, you're creating for yourself, of course, but you're also creating for this audience to consume the thing that you're creating. So how do you view that sort of back and forth? What role does the audience play in the suspense of telling the story for you?
Yeah, it's a really it's a great question because it is actually very complicated, because the reality is the idea of, I think you can get yourself in trouble by trying to anticipate or project onto the audience outside of yourself in terms of what they want. The reality is you do have to very much tune it to yourself, but that means that you have to, throughout the process, be able to step back and be an audience yourself. You know, that's kind of, I'd say that's 90% of the job of directing at every phase. Whether you're sitting there on set watching an actor give a performance, for that time between action and cut, you have to be an audience member and have a genuine emotional reaction to that. And then you say cut, and then you have to parse that and figure out how you collaborate with them to you know, to tune it. So I don't know. I think that you're constantly, all you're doing is trying to tune it to the audience, but ultimately the only audience that you have any real mooring with is yourself. So you kind of just hope that that you have some shared humanity with the people sitting out there in the dark, and you know, so far so good.
How often are people coming up to both of you suggesting plot lines for the next film?
Not
I feel like that probably not enough.
Anything, we'll take any ideas. Just throw them our way.
Come on. Yeah,
I think they're just eager to hear that you guys
Yeah.
are eager to do another one.
I would, man, look, I feel like as long as we can keep kind of figuring out new and slightly scary things to do with this. Scary meaning we don't know if we can pull it off or not. Gee, can this genre do this? Let's find out. And as long as we're both enjoying it, as long as the audiences are into it, I mean, you know, as long as this guy wants to keep coming back, I'd be thrilled to, you know, keep making these for a long time to come.
For sure. Well, I want to speak to the cast a little bit, and particularly two members. I mean, the cast is incredible. One of the things that I recently interviewed Glenn Close about this, but also something else, and she was saying about you, Rian, that part of your brilliance, both as a writer, as a director, but also as someone who understands how to cast and the actors in which are meant for the roles in which they have. And this cast is just incredible. But I first want to focus on Josh O'Connor and how we know him. We know his work. We know what he's done before, but we've never seen him in this way. And there's something from my chat with Glenn that stands out where I can't unsee it now. She describes him as Jimmy Stewart in his capability to both bring emotion, humor, and then suspense into the same performance within the span of a scene. So what was it about, for both of you, about Josh and working with Josh in this capacity that surprised you and maybe you didn't expect from him?
Well, we both, we both hit upon Josh. I mean, it felt like at the same time we were, and his name came up, and it was like that's the person we want. And we're not used to not getting our own way. So
no, I know we're very spoiled.
Spoiled, but he was, he was free. So he, it's interesting because I think that's true, and I do think that's true about him. And what my opinion about it is that what he does as a character, or the characters he plays, he appeals. And what I mean by that is that when he's appealing to the subject, he's appealing to the he's sort of saying, help me figure this out. It's like and as an audience, you sort of you lean in with that, because you lean in with his journey, you lean in with his and he's just, he's a brilliant actor. So everything he does is believable. He's also incredibly funny.
Mm-hmm.
And that, is and I know he's played lots of serious roles and done stuff like that, but he's, it's like he's just a lot of fun to have around.
Yeah. Ryan, do you want to speak to Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I can't top that. I mean, I think that I love Glenn's comparison to Jimmy Stewart. I also think that, like Jimmy Stewart, Josh can kind of Josh can do anything. He can, like Jimmy Stewart. You look at him in an Anthony Mann Western, and you look at him in It's a Wonderful Life, and there's just a massive gamut. You look at him in Vertigo, and he's just, I mean, Josh, when I saw him in Challengers, I was like, oh my God, who is this charismatic? He jumps off the screen. And then you watch La Chimera, which is a movie on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, performance-wise, equally as captivating. And then what he does in our film, I mean, I'm very excited to see how he just develops as a, as an actor. I just think he's extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of someone who can do anything, Glenn Close, my God, every single one. And listen, when we go see movies at Netflix as press, there's not a lot of talk or hanging around or chatter that happens after. We get in our cars and we go home.
Yeah.
We could not stop talking about Glenn Close and how incredible. I just kept watching it thinking, if she doesn't get nominated, I mean, it's just such a performance. So what is it about Glenn Close? She went from funny to scary to sad to, I mean, everything was hit. What was it about Glenn Close in this that's such a crucial role? And so how was it getting her, and what was it about her that really stood out to you?
Well, I mean, I guess the short answer is she's Glenn motherfucking Close. I mean, it's kind of like if you've been watching her your whole life, you kind of know that she can do anything. For me, though, the experience of working with her kind of taught me sort of maybe part of what's behind that essence that you're talking about. And it's that every day when she showed up on set, she was there with the energy of someone who had just gotten their first job in the industry. And by that, I mean, she loves making movies, and she shows up with almost like a wide-eyed wonder of, we get to do this, and excitement about the process. I remember one day at the end of a long day, we wrapped her. And so she was done for the day. And then I had one more scene to shoot with Daniel and Josh. And so I went with them, and I was in a little room, and we were blocking it. And I was kind of like backing up in the corner, and I bump into someone. And I turn around, and it's Glenn in her street clothes, and she's just tucked back in the corner, like she just stuck around because she wanted to watch these two work, and she wanted to observe the process. And that's the kind of joy that she brought in just making movies and getting to do what we do every single day. She's to me, that's kind of the essence of what makes Glenn so great at what she does.
Yeah. Daniel, you want to speak to Glenn?
I mean, there's not much to add. I mean, she's Glenn motherfucking Close. I mean, for me, I've been very lucky to work with some, very famous, great actors, and it's sort of daunting, kind of walking onto a set of Road to Perdition, and there's Paul Newman and Tom, and what was sort of the biggest joys of my career, apart from working with them, was talking to them and realizing they were actors, and that I'm an actor, I can relate to that. So we had a common connection, and Glenn is no different. She kind of, we want the same things. We want to find the truth. We want to find the humanity in the people we're playing. We want to we want to make people laugh. We want to make people clap. We want to, we're all looking for love, and we're all very insecure. And you kind of just, and Glenn is, she's just like, as Ryan said, she's as thrilled as I am to be on set. Not more, way more thrilled than I am maybe on set. But she's a joy to be around because of the joy she's sort of having and bringing to the set.
Yeah, I want to. My last question is for you, Daniel, and it speaks to that you are at a point in your career where, I mean, you've had multiple franchises be successful. You have worked with the best of the best. I mean, sitting next to one, you can just do whatever you want. And yet in this project and in all of these films, it does feel like at the end of the day, you are just part of a company of actors that is just getting something done to bring entertainment to people. And so I wanted to know for you, how does it feel to be at this point in your career and to be able to do the level of work that you continually are doing over these past few years, especially these past few years?
I'm surprised. I'm overjoyed. I couldn't have planned this. I mean, I could wish for things. I could, but to actually, you could have sort of described it. I mean, the fact of being part of an ensemble piece, and the word ensemble is so kind of like, really? It's like, they talk about, oh, we're such an ensemble, and it's not usually the truth. Yeah. Genuinely on these movies, there's just this feeling of coming together, and because of this man and because of the scripts, because of what he kind of, and his attitude and joy that he brings to the set. It's like, it's an incredibly creative place. And I'm, it's just, I come, I see, people say that I started in the theater, and kind of weirdly, I didn't start in the theater. I started in movies, but I do have a theater background. So I'm very, that's part of the way I've worked. You have to come together as a group, and you're putting on a show, and you're putting on a show for people to come and see. And you should never really forget that. I don't think. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's like, how can we please people? How can we, turn them on?
Yeah. Well, you did it. I'm very pleased. Thank you
you
both
very
for
much.
taking the time to chat with me.
It's lovely.
It was a real pleasure. Thanks.
Now, when Glenn Close described Josh O'Connor as Jimmy Stewart, I just couldn't, it made perfect sense to me. So obviously I had to talk with Josh about that, because what a compliment. But because it's me, I also had to start the chat in the most ridiculous of ways. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hey.
I have to tell you, I had a bit of a panic before I signed on, because I saw myself in the monitor, and in these glasses, I think I look like Jiminy Glick. Do you know Jiminy Glick? Are you familiar with Jiminy Glick?
Yes, I am. I don't think you look like that.
Thank God you just said that, because I can't get it out of my head, but I didn't want to start Googling and then miss this opportunity. I'm terrified. So first off, congratulations on this fantastic film and this fantastic performance, and being a part of, to be a part of Knives Out franchise in general must feel amazing. So how do you feel about being in this movie and being a part of this franchise?
Yeah, thank you. I feel great. It's I'm a big fan of Ryan's, and I was a big fan of his previous to Knives Out, but love the first and two installments. So yeah, it's great. It's been a real pleasure, and getting to work alongside this amazing cast, and Kerry and Glenn and Josh and Andrew and Kaylee, and they're all so brilliant, and had the best time. It was great.
Well, I want to focus a little bit on the cast, actually, because
you and Daniel Craig definitely had a lot together, and that was your relationship. Even though, like, you know, everyone comes to it and they know Daniel Craig's character, they know that character. We're being introduced to you as sort of a partner with him in this movie. And so, what was it like establishing your character with this other character that is already so well established? You know so much about this character. Like, how did you navigate your way into finding how you were going to play your part?
Well, I suppose, I mean, the dynamic with Daniel, first of all, I think the great thing about Knives Out is, of course, there's the setup of the sort of murder mystery. Um, uh, but, you know, at the heart of each of these films, and this what sets Ryan apart as a filmmaker, is that there's always something else going on, and there's always a kind of a deeper question, something more profound underneath, which kind of underpins it. It's what keeps us so gripped to the story. And I suppose Daniel, you know, Benoir Blanc has a different journey on each film. So I generally don't think too much about, it sounds outrageous actually as I'm saying it, but I don't think too much about the other characters in that world. You know, my focus when I start a project is what, uh, you know, who my character is, what they want, what's the stumbling block in the way, and how they overcome that hurdle, sometimes in a kind of surprising way, in an unexpected way. And so, um, you know, once you've figured that out and you've done your research, and personally I make scrapbooks and make notes, and then, you know, once that work's done, really it's more about just responding and listening and engaging with whoever's sitting across from you in a scene, and figuring it out that way. And then, you know, if you're fortunate to have a director like Ryan, who is all about actors and all about character um and intentions, then you're sort of, you're flying really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Ryan and Daniel and I talked a lot about, you know, the benefit or really the potential of faith in telling a story that's a mystery, and the room for the mystery and the suspense around one's belief in their faith and how they practice their faith. And I wanted to get your thoughts a little bit on the story itself, but more so how, because the tone of this film feels very different from the other Knives Out in a really wonderful way. So what was it about the faith element of this story that perhaps stood out to you?
Well, I think you're onto something. I mean, I think what Father Judd is exploring is a sort of, uh is this notion of like uncertainty, and that faith doesn't have to be certain. It doesn't have to be fact, or kind of, or printed into stone. You know, it's like faith is a question, and for me, it's a question. Um, and so, um, you know, likewise in the kind of murder mystery, I don't think it's ever straightforward. You know, we talk about in the film, it's talked about as the impossible crime. I mean, you know, what Judd's, you know, Benoit Blanc is looking for an answer. He's looking for a truth. And what Father Judd introduces is that, um, the truth isn't, you know, truth is one thing, but there is always doubt, and and that's okay. And faith requires a belief in change, in a belief in forgiveness. And so I think they run really well together. I think that's what's so brilliant about Ryan, is that he matches these big ideas, and they are seamless.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, another thing that I think stood out to me with this film in particular, but your performance, I mean, I've been following your work really ever since The Crown. I mean, I've seen a lot of your work since then. And one of the things that I think people are going to be surprised by with this is that you're actually funny. Like, this isn't a comedy necessarily, but you are actually very funny. I mean, we're going to find that out on SNL. Congratulations. Can't wait for that. But like, were you eager to be a little funny?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I don't know, the kind of the actors that I looked up to and aspired to, you know, growing up as an actor was, you know, people like Pete Postlethwaite,
Mm.
Gene Wilder, actors that were able to kind of do everything. Um, that was the sort of, you know, like, it's a great gift being an actor and getting to play different roles that challenge you, some that fit easier than others. Like, I love that. And yeah, I mean, I loved having, it's so great being able to like, create something that's funny and humorous, and then also be able to like dance that line between the humorous and the more profound, or the more emotional, because I think that that line is often very blurred.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my favorite comic performances really dance with an audience, and they acknowledge, once they've got you laughing, you're vulnerable, and they can pull the rug off from underneath you, and next thing you know, you're having your heart broken. And
Yeah.
that's always been really attractive to me and a challenge. So I was thrilled to do that on this.
Yeah. And I want to say too, I mean, I interviewed Glenn Close for this, and she said something that when she said it, it immediately about you, when that immediately clicked, that I just can't now unsee it. And she was so awed by your work and your performance in this and working with you, but then also said that you remind her of a young Jimmy Stewart in how you were able to convey emotion in really beautiful, relatable ways. And so I want to get your reaction to Glenn Close saying that. That must make you feel really happy, but also B, like, do you feel like you're at this place in your career where we are really getting to know you on a much larger scale, and this is going to take it to another level? How are you navigating some of that?
Well, first of all, any praise from Glenn Close is crazy to me and very surreal. Um, Praise that includes any sort of comparison with Jimmy Stewart is next level. So I'm very touched by that. But yeah, I mean, it's a strange, it's a strange thing, isn't it? I suppose my biggest fear, really, is, from a professional point of view, is that um, we live in a time where, actors are actors, but they're also, um, people want to get to know the actor. They want to know what the person's like, and in some ways, that's one of our greatest powers, is the sense of mystery. And so I suppose what's tricky, or seems tricky to me, is that the more known I am, the less mysterious and the less powerful my tool is to kind of pull the wool over your eyes and convince you that I'm someone else. Um, but I don't know that that's true or not. That's just a kind of question that I'm sort of posing my head recently. And how it's affected my life. I mean, it sort of hasn't. I mean, of course it has in some ways, but I'm still my mother's son. I'm still my brother's brother, and I still love gardening and making pots and being at home and talking to trees and doing doing all the things that I like doing. Um, but yeah, it's a great look. There's no two ways about it. I'm in a very privileged position, getting to do a job that I love. When I know that there are so many beautiful, incredibly talented actors, some of whom I went to drama school with, who don't get that privilege of getting to work, and many that we'll never know, who might be the next, might really be the next Jimmy Stewart. So it's a great honor to be able to do it, and I don't take that for granted.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot better to be compared to Jimmy Stewart than Jiminy Glick. I can tell you that.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
You're not. You're comparing yourself.
Yes. Lovely chatting with you. Thank you so
You too.
much.
Thanks.
Finally, we're ending things today as most people should end things, with Glenn Close, the Queen, the best, the GOAT, everything. I need to talk about Wake Up Dead Man because like I was telling you before, I saw it at Netflix early on and was blown away. I didn't know what to expect from your character, and the dance that you did between drama and even comedy. There's comedy in there too, and having that sort of fluidity between the two was incredible to watch. How exciting was it for you to get offered
Oh
a
my
Rian
God.
Johnson
I got two
project?
Ryans
Yeah. Yeah.
in the same week. Two Ryans
Oh,
called me up.
really? In the
Yes,
same
Ryan
week?
Murphy and Rian Johnson.
Wow.
It was like, what? Yeah, and that was, oh my God, that was such a wonderful movie to make.
Mm.
Ryan is, he's an exceptional human being, and it just the cast was just heaven.
Yeah.
Just heaven.
I mean, when I want you to be the star of every movie, but especially if I'm going to your movie, I want you, and you always are the star, even if you are supporting in your films. But what is it to you? Because you really do go after the character. And like in this part, even though she isn't necessarily the lead, she's the film, at least for me, but I'm biased. Like what is it about this character that made you want to bring her to life?
From 7 to 22, I was in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Not of my choice. I had no choice. And I think Martha's a woman who had no family life. We don't really know what her backstory is fully.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do, but it's not evident in and she was the church, and the man who founded that church was her whole life. And I kind of can understand that mindset. So I could totally commit to it.
Mm. How do you find that dance because you do, of course, know the story, you know where the character ends up, you know where it's going. How do you find the way in which you're going to, through the secrets, through the eyes, through what you do, find that way that you're going to sneak those things into a character? Because it's so pivotal for a character like this.
I don't know. I think I try to, in the moment, just try to, so it's an active imagination. Try to be absolutely in the moment, and what would it mean to be in that moment as that character, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I mean, we walk through the day not thinking about our whole lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And so neither does somebody, that you shouldn't in a movie, you kind of live with what's presented to you moment to moment. So that to me, I think, is the first exercise. What, where have I come from? Where am I going?
Mm-hmm.
What is actually can be as spontaneous in the moment as possible.
Mm. How much on a Rian set, how much freedom do you have? Because the script is so perfect. His scripts are so tight. How much freedom do you have to explore and play a little bit with who the character is off the page?
That is what I thought was phenomenal in that Rian. I mean, I had to read the script 3 times before I could even begin to figure out what was going on.
Yes.
How seamless it was.
I can't wait to watch it again.
Oh, I know.
Me
too.
Your character throughout.
Me too.
Yeah.
And even while filming it, I think all of us said, "Oh." I'd love to be directed, and that whole last sequence, it was wonderful. We all found it together, I would say. Yeah.
Well, there's something we were talking before about Josh O'Connor, but to see you and Josh, he's a new acting powerhouse that is very new to us, from The Crown and other things, of course. You are very familiar. It's not a surprise that Glenn Close is perfect at acting, but it is amazing to see the two of you together doing what you do so well. And it seems like you were really working off of his energy in a lot of scenes. What was it about Josh O'Connor that surprised you?
I don't know if surprise is the right word. Maybe, because I didn't know him. I don't know. I mean, I just think he's like Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you that.
Yeah.
And what is it about Jimmy Stewart? You always feel that there's a human heart there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody that you love. He's easy to love. And that's a beautiful quality to have, certainly in film. He's empathetic, and he's sympathetic, and just, real and unassuming and lovely. And he's just a great guy.
Yeah. There was a moment when I was watching it that I was reminded, and I mean, I'm not an actor, but like what you and Josh in certain scenes, but particularly, in the end, but also just throughout the film, you act with your eyes in a way that is just so fascinating to watch that I saw people reacting to you when you weren't even saying anything. You were just performing. And it's really brilliant to watch. I mean, that specifically, is there something, how much of the performance is really just in the expression of how you react to something?
A lot.
It's a different.
But then that comes down to, are you well lit? Can they see your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important.
Yeah. It's fascinating to watch. Well, I can't spend any time with you without saying and acknowledging, and you've been asked this question a million times, but there's an army of homosexuals out there who are very, very angry that you don't have an Academy Award. And you know this. I mean, you're aware of this. And you've said the things you say about, what you mean about not winning, having not won the Academy Award. But what I want to know is, how does it feel? Because it really is a validation of how much we love and admire your work, that how angry we are that you don't have that Academy Award. So how does that feel, the public's reaction to you not having
I
an Oscar?
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I've always said that to be in the room is everything, and I honestly believe that. To be in this profession for 50 years and still be in the room, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because it's a brutal profession.
Mm-hmm.
Highly, highly competitive, exhausting. To be in the room, But I'm now starting at this age to think, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd really be nice, because I think it does kind of change. Maybe how people in the business look at you.
Is that important to you?
For getting great parts? Yes.
Yeah.
You want to get great parts. You want to get parts that give you a run for your money. Get all the gears working.
Yeah.
It's about the part.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the things that I think another validation of you is, I mean, we'll go to see your movies, we'll go to watch you on television, but your Instagram is just,
Oh my God.
we're obsessed with your Instagram. It's just too much. Did you expect yourself to become as big of an Instagram celebrity as Kim Kardashian just by being
I'm not as big. No way.
You go viral, Glenn, often.
Yeah, no, I'm always fighting with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always aware of, there's a beautiful sunset. I should maybe take a picture of it. And I said, no, just be in the moment and look at the sunset and not think you have to, but at the same time, I feel a great love from a lot of people.
Yeah.
And also I think I like being silly and stupid, and people think of me as such a kind of serious person, and I'm really not.
Yeah.
And so I think it started during COVID when I did some of those characters.
Yeah. Yes. I reposted all of them.
So maybe I should do that again.
Yes. Well, speaking of stupid, then, my last thing for you is, I had to ask the army of homosexuals angry that you don't have an Oscar, the things about you that stand out the most, that if I, through them, had to present something to you.
You asked them that?
Yes, I asked all of them that, every homosexual in the world. And the two things are, can you still do the Cruella laugh? That was one.
Yes. Do you want me to do it?
Please, please.
You want me to do it right now?
I mean, yeah, well, yes, I'm on camera. I need it. Every homosexual is very happy about that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is to have you in the presence and to have you say, I'm not going to be ignored, in the way that I posted that today and people went crazy. So do people ask?
Do you know do we have time to?
Please, I mean,
that
yes.
scene where I say, I'm not going to be ignored, Dan. Adrian Lyne had to stop and tell all the crew to go get a cup of coffee because I couldn't get it. I was so, don't even, I said, there's something wrong. I can't find it. And do we need this line or blah, blah, blah. And we got through it and we did it and I got through it. But I realized afterwards I was wearing this little teddy. Yeah. I felt totally exposed. And, it was, so when I say I'm not going to be ignored, Dan, it came from a place of real fragility. Somebody who was not comfortable in her skin.
Yeah.
And as an actress at that moment, that was me.
Wow. I mean, it changed cinema history. We keep talking about it. It's the performance. I went back and watched it last night and just blown away at how brilliant of a performance it is. And it also obviously led to everything else that you've done and how brilliant you've been. So it's an honor to be able to chat with you.
I really
And
appreciate that.
I really appreciate taking the time.
Thank you very much.
Of course, yes.
And
thank
hi
you
to
so much.
those millions of beautiful homosexuals.
I'll text them. We're on a group chat. I'll let them know.
Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. You know, do the whole comment and subscribe and like and all the things the internet tells you to do. I hope you're liking the things that I'm putting up here because I'm really liking this space. And you know what to do. You can follow me at H. Allen Scott on everything. In the meantime, watch something fun today and have a good one.